In today's video demo, we're going to go over some of the maintenance areas and features. First, as a maintenance user, you are restricted. Your menu is about half the size of a scheduler or administrator. And also you can be restricted by aircraft. So if you're not seeing a certain airplane, contact your scheduling department and ask them to give you authorization to see that airplane. Also keep in mind that you control how your calendar looks. So if you'd like to change it, you can use this gear icon in the top right hand corner to change your calendar. If you have a lot of airplanes, you might want to try a different calendar. Also, you have different tags here that you can turn on. If you'd like to see who the crew is on the aircraft or flight log due tag, things like that, you can turn those on here. Also, you can add notes for your calendar. You can add private notes for yourself, or you can add notes that everybody can see. So keep that in mind. Those can be general notes like you're having a meeting or something small, something that's not really maintenance of an airplane related, but you can add notes quickly to the calendar. You cannot edit any flights. You can view the flights, but you cannot edit the flights. So if you want to, you can open the flight, and here you'll be able to see information about the flight and where it's going and the times and such. You'll be able to even see some of the notes for the trip. Maybe if you need to fuel the airplane or pull it out, if you're doing any of those types of duties, right? You also have a flight log portion of the trip and the expenses in case you're doing any expenses, like maybe you got fuel or fueled it up or catering or something like that for the airplane. Keep in mind, as a maintenance user, you can also be assigned to a trip as crew. So you can be a crew member on a trip. Okay. Now back onto the main calendar, you can see maintenance events show up with a little wrench. And you can see on flights, if there is a flight log that is not complete, it's incomplete, you'll be able to see a little tag here letting you know that the flight log is not complete. Now, a big area for maintenance users is the aircraft dashboard. So if you go to your aircraft dashboard, this will list out all of the airplanes that you have access to. You can hover over these status lights to see if anything is expired or pending expiration coming up. This will tell you the total time and total landings on the airplane as it is right now. You can also see the last known location of the airplane. And if it's en route, you can see the flight tracking here as well. So it will be blinking. It will tell you where it's going and how long it'll take to get to that location. At the top, you have a menu, and this is your due items menu. Here you'll notice that just for demonstration purposes, I've got the different integrations turned on. SierraTrax is an integration partner, Traxall and Gulfstream CMP are integration partners. I'm sure that some of you use CAMP or FlightDocs, but we are integrated with CAMP, but only for Gulfstream CMP. So if you're wanting those integrations, you're going to have to talk to those companies and put the pressure on them, because it's not us that prevents the integrations. We just simply are not going to sign any kind of contract that stipulates any kind of giving up of our intellectual rights, or that might require us to give up ownership of our company or something. So we're integrated with who we are integrated with. We welcome more integrations, but we're very particular about the contract. Now up at the top here, we have due items. These are our due items from Airplane Manager. We have discrepancies and VOR checks. Now keep in mind that if you're going to integrate with anybody, there's some benefits with it. You do not have to update the total times and cycles and landings of the airplane anymore. We do that for you. So if you're integrated, say with SierraTrax or Gulfstream CMP, we're going to send those times over there. We're going to update them, and then we're going to pull back the list of due items for display here. So if you click on one of these items, you'll get the list of display of due items for a particular airplane. Also, those due items will print at the bottom of the pilot's trip sheets, right? So it's very beneficial for the pilots to see the pending and coming up list of inspections coming on the airplane. The next area of importance for you are these due items right here. These due items are customizable in our software. Okay. If you would like to customize your due items, you'd have to talk to one of your administrators to get that done. They actually have access to the settings and they can change these due items for you. And I'll show you what I mean here in a second. On this page, we've filtered down to one airplane. We have the total times and cycles and landings at the top of the page for your review. And you can filter by time and date if you would like. It's going to show you any of the current items that are listed as well as any expired items. And you can also have a summary report. If you'd like to add a new item, you can simply just add a new item right here. Now keep in mind that if you're going to add a new item, this is the list of categories that can be customized by your administrator right here. So, you can see we have some default things in here like airframe and APU and electrical, engine, fire protection, flight controls, things like that. But you can actually customize this to include things like customs decal stickers, insurance, airworthiness certificates, anything that you just like to be reminded about, you can do. We've seen people put in here cleaning of the airplane so that they clean the airplane every so often. So it's whatever you would like to be reminded about. It doesn't have to be a maintenance item. Okay. Now notice that if I select an item in here, then I get to select a due type, So it is basically, is it a date or is it time limited, hours, landings? We're just going to say this is a due date and we're going to throw this in here and say that it's going to come due in 2023 and it's going to come due on the 30th here. And there's no ATA code for that, and we don't really need much. But here's the thing, would you like to add it to the calendar as a reminder note to everybody? If you'd like to add this item, just click add to calendar, and now you get to select to add it to the calendar. And here we're just going to say remember right. And that's it. Now it's on your list of due items, and it's also on the calendar now for view. That comes in handy for large inspections that's going to take the airplane down. So that way the dispatch and the pilots know that there's an inspection coming up. Now up top here we do have the summary report. So if you click on the summary report, you'll notice that you get this nice display here. The airplane, that it's a maintenance report, your company's information, and you get the current hours and cycles at the top, any due items that you've got on your list, and you get any squawks that are currently pending on the airplane or resolved recently. So you get both. And if you'd like, you can print this or save it as a PDF, or you can email and share it directly to someone, such as a maintenance provider like Gulfstream or Bombardier. Now back on your aircraft dashboard, the next area we have is your discrepancies. Once again, you can filter by aircraft, and then you'll see any of your discrepancies right here. Right. Keep in mind that you can sign the discrepancies, you can resolve them, and you can sign them digitally. Also, the pilots do these discrepancies from their phone or their iPad. So they can actually take a picture of the item. If they have a picture, it will show up here. So the other benefit of using our discrepancies area is the maintenance users get a text notification that they have a new discrepancy to review. Right. So as soon as the pilot writes it up, you get a notification, and you can click on that notification, come in here and review this discrepancy and see whether or not it's something you need to deal with right away. And then you have VOR checks. So once again, the pilots can do the VOR checks right from their phone, right from their trip sheets. So back over in our fleet area, you'll notice here that we also have a map if you'd like to see the airplanes on a map where they're for their flight tracking, flight following. And down here we have reports. So reports are a very important area for the maintenance users. And you'll notice here we have aircraft reports, crew reports, expense reports, and calendar reports, right? So the most important area being the aircraft reports. This very first report is very simple. It's aircraft totals. It's exactly the total time on the airplane as it stands right now. So if you're updating a third-party system, this is probably the best place to come to, because it's really simple. You just pull up one screen and here's all of your airplanes. Another area that's very important is this aircraft logs report, right? So this aircraft logs report is very cool. It's a big report. You know, you can do some cool things here, which I will show you. And what it did here is all it did was simply pull up the legs of this airplane, of every completed flight log leg that was in the system for that date range. At the bottom, it will show you your total time at the end of the search range. So if you're searching a different date range, it would show you the total at the end of that date range, right? If you're ever wondering about information on this particular date, all you have to do is come over and click this expand arrow. And we will expand to show you the math of how it started and how it ended, okay? If you ever see orange over here, that is a starting point. That is a manual override. That is where the airplane first started. So you should see an orange arrow with asterisks over here for the very first flight that you put into the system, right? So, you know, if I was to do a date range here and go way, way back into history, you know, I might see one for this airplane, but this is an old airplane that we've had in the system for a long time, you know, so we'll see if we find one. But let's check it out. We might not have gone back far enough, so this airplane's been in here for a good amount of time, you know. Let's see what we find. Nothing. It doesn't have one right now. So normally you would see a little orange asterisk over here, and what that is that's just a forward override. So it's just somebody went into the system and said, these are the starting times I would like to use, okay? And how you do that is you go to your calendar, and for the very first trip on your calendar, you open up that trip and you go to the flight log tab of the trip at the top. And here you'll notice on this flight log, you can open this forward override up and you can input your starting times into our system for the first time. And we're going to start counting on this departure from these numbers that you put in. They will turn orange. Orange will signal to you that that's a forward override. You have told us from this date forward, you want these numbers to be your baseline. Keep in mind that if you ever hang a loaner engine on the airplane or a new engine, you will need to come here to that trip that is departing the maintenance facility with the loaner engine or the new engine, and you will need to put in this full row of forward times. Again, because you've got a new engine or a loaner engine on your airplane. Once you do that, we will lock everything into history, so you are not affecting anything that you've already done in the system. If you're going to integrate with, say, Gulfstream CMP, you will need to update the serial numbers so that way we can sync your engines properly. Keep in mind on flight logs, you can do VOR checks and you can upload documents. Maybe if there's any maintenance documents that needed to be captured here, and you can get a summary report of the trip, okay? So some pretty good things on the reports that you're gonna like. A traditional report that you're used to might be this flight log report. So if you want, you can just do a annual report per airplane, and this is going to show you all of your different flight logs for the airplane. Right? So here's a flight log. You can see it's got their logo on it and their header, and it's got the signature of the pilot and the time date stamp of the pilot, right? And you can see here what it's got for the columns. Now these columns, just so you know, are customizable, right, in the aircraft area. So you can add and remove these columns as your company needs, right? So yeah, you've got all these flight logs here. And notice that you can just simply download them to CSV or download them all to PDF and save them on your computer if you need to, okay? So pretty handy. Keep in mind that we do all the math, right? So if you edit a flight log because you found a mistake 6 trips ago, we're going to auto-correct everything. As long as you did not do a manual override, during that period, it's all going to get auto-corrected, okay? Other reports that are helpful for you might be aircraft tracking, legs completed, line service. This is a really good one. If you've got a lot of airplanes coming and going to your home base and you want to know when they're leaving and when they're coming, you can do that, right? So you got a bunch of different reports here. This one is interesting. It's a forecast report. So what it does is it tells you how many hours the airplane's going to have on it out into the future. So based upon the schedule. So if you want to go way out into the future, you can just move out into the future and you should see these numbers grow normally as the schedule has more flights on it. And if you'd like to see more for that day, just click on it and we will tell you how many landing cycles, everything the airplane is expected to have on that date, right? So that way you can predict inspections, right? Couple other things that are helpful on these reports, obviously times, stuff like this, and scheduled, once again, you're just looking at scheduled data there, okay? So you do have some different things that are pretty important, right? If you ever need help with our system, just come over to the help area. You can watch videos, read some FAQs, do an airport search, do a flight time and distance calculator, things like that, okay? Another area that of importance is your profile. If you'd like to go to your profile, just click your name and you're going to come to your profile here. If you would like, say, on and off reports, right, you're going to come to your profile and click on settings and stuff, and we will actually send you text notifications of when the airplane goes wheels up and the airplane goes wheels down, right? Some maintenance directors of maintenance want that information, so it just depends on what you like, right? But we also have plans in the very near future to add a checklist that allows maintenance users to sign off on an airplane before it departs or before it is confirmed, right? So just look for some updates coming out soon from us, and you should be happy with some of the things that we're adding to the system. Keep in mind, you do have a schedule here, and you can customize your schedule, and your dispatch can allow you to have control of your own schedule or not have control. Okay, so if you can't click on your schedule, that's because they didn't give you permission to do so. So if you're ever wondering whether or not you'd like to be able to do something, always ask your administrators whether or not they can give you permission to that, right? So we are going to stop now as far as the system is concerned, and there's not too much more for you to see here, but keep in mind that pilots will see the trips differently. Administrators would see it differently, right? So you're only seeing it from a maintenance standpoint, which is a restricted standpoint. If for some reason you need more visibility at your company, they can always upgrade your user to a scheduler user, and then you can edit flights and you can see a lot more information, right? So that's all up to your flight department. You don't have to be a maintenance user. A scheduler can do pretty much everything a maintenance user can do, right? So just keep that in mind. But if you have any questions, we do have 2 A&P IAs on staff here. So you're welcome to give us a call anytime, and we look forward to helping you out.